Hi, this is Nikki from Moonchild Tarot, and I have another flip through for you today. I have, since it's been leading up to Samhain, it's been leading up to Halloween, I have been purchasing the spooky, darker decks that I've been wanting for my collection for a while. So today, last week we looked at the Vlad Dracula Tarot. I will try and link it somewhere either below or up somewhere. So we looked at that. This week we are going to look at the Murder of Crows Tarot. And this has been a deck that has been on my wish list ever since I started rediscovering tarot, collecting tarot. It's one that's really always drawn me in, but I've been a bit hesitant to purchase it. As people know, I love crows. Crows are absolutely beautiful. Crows, ravens, corvids, everything like that. But the thing that slightly put me off was some people saying about the dark energy that it had. Like, I love myself a bit of creepy tarot deck, but the images, I was like, is it too dark? Now, I also have the Joker Tarot by the same artist. And when I got the Joker Tarot, I was like, I fell in love. It's so, like, hauntingly beautiful that I thought, right, I'm gonna purchase it. I'm gonna get this. And I've waited quite a bit for it to come. So let's get started with my flip through and the review. Firstly, the box. Now, I do love the idea of this two-part box, and I'm going to peel the sides off because there was a particular reason why I've kept these sticky sides on. I love the idea of this like two-part box and it changes and everything like that. However, when I had this displayed on my shelf and went to pick it up, I took off the little stickers and moved them up further up. So I picked it up and all the cards went on the floor, and I've had to reorder it back into its order for this flip through. So you have to pick the box up from the bottom. Now, I'm clumsy, I'm forgetful, I will not remember, so I'm gonna have to find some way of like keeping this washi taped just so I don't end up throwing all my cards everywhere. I usually have like a tarot bag or something with my decks in, so I've got to find the most perfect wool to make a tarot bag for this. But when I find that most perfect wool, it'll be very dark. I will knit myself a tarot bag. I've got lots of black and red at the moment, so I'm looking for something that might be a little bit different. Maybe like just a very dark wool. I don't like just one colour wool. I like the variegated wool. So, for example, this is one of the first tarot bags. It's got a big, massive flap. This is one of the first tarot bags I made. But it's kind of hard to get wool that is, you know, often you buy variegated wool, it's all in nice, pretty colours. You know, wool doesn't really cater for the inner darkness and the inner goth, but let's move on to it. So the box is really sturdy, really good quality box, and as I said, like moving these things again, it does open up to that beautiful red crow there. You've got your cards, you've got your guidebook. So a note to anybody who is looking online to buy a deck, buy a version of this. This only comes in a two-part box. So if it arrives in a tuck box or anything like that, it is not a genuine Murder of Crows tarot. There is, I think, a mini version, and I'm not sure what the mini version comes in, whether it comes in a tin. I'd have to look at that, but The actual full-size cards are in this 2-part box, and do have a guidebook. Most tarot decks have a guidebook. So when you're going to buy a tarot deck and it has something like a PDF code, go and check on YouTube before you buy. Go and do your due diligence, because there are so many fakes out there, and it really does take away from the creators that create these, spend hours and hours putting their work into this beautiful tarot. But that's my little rant about fakes over. I will be the fake police forever, because it really does wind me up. So it comes in this beautiful 2-part box, and let's look at the guidebook. First, you've got your, insert card there, and your typical low scarabeo card. The card quality, the card stock is it's pretty decent. It's not thin, it's not too thick where you can't shuffle it. It's going to make for a good shuffle, but I'm going to put them to the side for now, and we're going to move on to the guidebook first. So I've had a little bit of a look at the guidebook, and it really does, it's got a whole section of taking you on the journey of, taking you on the journey of the crows, listening to the wisdom of the crows, structuring of the tarot, the major arcana, the minor arcana. It's got a good thing about the courts cards, because a lot of people really struggle with the court cards, because there's not as much to go on, and this really breaks it down in a really easy way. It's not very good if you've, like me, and you've got very bad eyesight. It's got about questions, which again is really helpful. So I think a beginner could pick this up. It's got, your typical 3-card spread, your daily draws, and it's got a lovely counting crows spread there. And then it goes into, the journey into the shadow realm. It gives you more from the author and the lore of the crow. So I'm going to be really interested using it as spellcraft, meanings and keywords, reversals, like notes there. And then we go into the major arcana, so you get a little chunk, and you get keywords as well, which is really good to just bounce off and let your intuition go from there. So like the Fool, it says, it begins with a cry in the darkness, a first herald of a lonesome journey. The trail unrolls itself before you through unfamiliar terrain. Here and now, you can be exactly who you say you are. Your first step is imminent, and it cannot be retaken. Heed the bird's warning. Allow its full-throated cry to echo before you, calling the path ahead out of the smoke and the myrrh. Set yourself in motion, even though the second and third steps remain uncertain. And keywords: a call of the unknown, a step yet to be untaken, human fragility, because obviously the Fool starts at 0. He's infinite possibilities, but he's also fragile. So I like the way that it's giving keywords as well. So that's the major arcana. Then it goes into the minors. It gives a little bit of an association. So it says cups are the realms of dreams with the symbols of the chalices. And then it gives you a little paragraph and some keywords. The wands, the realm of growth. It did say the pentacles is the realm of greed, which I don't know whether I quite kind of fully, but I understand what they're kind of saying with that. But pentacles are all practical, monetary, everything like that. We do, need to work on our resources. And then the swords are the realm of riddles. What is worse than our own mind? Our own mind can get us into riddles there and stuff. So it does kind of give you and it's in other languages as well. So it's a really good, handy little guidebook. Definitely accessible for a beginner. If you love the artwork of these cards and kind of going on. It doesn't, I always say though, if you're a beginner, get a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So get a, I'm just trying to find if I could see I've got my trusty, very cheap, in this Wonder Woman, in a Wonder Woman bag, very trusty Rider-Waite-Smith here that I just use for study. So I use it so I can analyze the cards, analyze the artwork, because this is where most of your imagery is based. So I do like to have a Rider-Waite-Smith so you can use it for study rather than actually, I don't usually read with a Rider-Waite-Smith deck myself. I have it though, so when I'm doing my tarot course and when I'm studying, I can use the imagery from that because that's where it came from. But that, again, that's another side tangent. So let's go into the cards. Now, these lovely, beautiful backs, it's absolutely like stunning. It's almost a bit like one of them magic eye pictures. So if you look at it too hard, something's gonna kind of appear. It almost looks like there's eyes everywhere, like watching. Yeah, it does give me this idea of lots of different eyes and stuff. Yeah, the cardstock is really sturdy. It is glossy, which is not ideal if you're a creator and you want to video them, but it's fine. It's not too glossy. So I've got the light on. It's not too glossy, but it is, you know, still glossy. So it might kind of cause an issue, say, for example, if you were reading on lives or things like that and you've got a ring light and things, it kind of might cause an issue there. I've got some tarot decks that I can't use on a live because the phone casts a reflection onto the cards and casts it onto my glasses and everything like that. So it's kind of I think tarot makers are slowly moving into making all their kind of cards matte, which I think is a good idea. So let's get into the cards. So I've put them back into order of the way I see the suits is ordered, which is wands, pentacles, swords, and then cups, because that fits in with the kind of hierarchy of need there. So we've got, first of all, we've got the Fool. He's beautiful. He's going on. He's got a crow instead of a dog. He's still got his flowers. So a lot of the imagery is still there. It's just, it's reworked and reinvented. Then your Magician, again, it's got kind of all the Rider-Waite-Smith elements in it, but then it's got the twist. I love this High Priestess. It's just beautiful. And it's, oh, I thought it was one of the images on the front of the box, but it's not. This is beautiful. The Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant. I mean, it's fine. You have to kind of work out from the cards what card is which, and that sometimes can be a bit hard. So it would have been nice to kind of have either something. It's not too bad with the majors. You know, I know roughly the order now of the cards, but if you're a beginner, you might kind of get a little bit confused. So yeah, this is the Lovers. Beautiful on the tree there. The Chariot. I love this Chariot. I just think it's got the moon in it as well. I just think this is a lovely, like, version of the Chariot chasing that star. I love the way it's been brought in. Strength. The Hermit. Interesting, they've got the crow in the cage. Wheel of Fortune. Like the barbed wire effect there at the bottom. And it's almost like there's a feather. It also feels like there's a feather there in the barbed wire. Justice. I like this type of justice. Hanged Man. Death. I love this Death card. Like, you can almost see the people underneath and stuff. Temperance. See, it still gives you the imagery, but has like a darker sense. The lovers, not the lovers, the devil, because it's got the two lovers from the lover cards. So if you look at the imagery of the devil has got the two lovers from the lovers card, and it's symbolic of Adam and Eve and things like that. That's why I got confused. So you've got the devil and they're chained there. The tower. I don't know how I feel about this tower. The fact that it's not crumbling. You know, it's almost like just before the tower crumbles. It's kind of giving me that sense. The star. Moon. The sun. So you can tell it's the sun there. Judgment. I'm going to do quickly the world because I don't want to get in trouble from YouTube. Then we've got the wands. So it still follows the Rider-Waite-Smith analogy, but you can get so much. There's like a little bit of a sinister vibe there going on. I love this 5 of wands. All the crows flapping, like ruffling feathers. 6, 7, 8, 9. I love this for the 9 of wands. And 10. The page. Now, I found this really hard because it's got a symbol and then it's obviously got the wand there. And this helmet makes me think, oh, that's a knight. But the helmet is for the page. The horse is for the knight, which I can assume, and obviously it links in with chess, so that's why I'd worked it out. I'm a very literal person, so because I'm ADHD, I kind of think, oh, a knight wears a helmet, so I wouldn't associate a page with a helmet. So I had to work that out. Yeah, the knight is the horse. Then you've got the queen with a smaller crown and the king with a bigger crown, but it's quite easy to work out which is the king and which is the queen. Then we've got pentacles. Love this. That's the image from the box. Juggling the crows there. I love the 4 of Pentacles. It's like just a card that always stands out for me. I think I prefer the Joker Tarot's version of the 4 of Pentacles than this one, but again there is that greedy sinisterness about it. The 5, caught with no hope. 6, reciprocity there. 7, assessment. 8, I love the shadow in there. 9, I was going to say, she doesn't look very happy to have this full blooming garden, but then that's something to look at when you're journaling and things like that. Why is her expression so kind of stony faced? 10, got all the worms there. They can retire early because they've got all the worms. And then we go on to the page, the knight, the queen. I love this, that it's kind of part of her clothing, a cloak, and the king there, part of the clothing again. Then we go on to swords. Interesting depiction of the Ace of Swords. 2, you see you've got still the blindfold and the 2 crows there, the 2 paths. 3, I do like this version of the 3 of Swords. The 3, you know, the 3 swords pointing up. The 4, again, I love the stained glass window in this. 5, 6. Again, we've got the boat, which is, you know, a lot in, you find it a lot in the Rider-Waite-Smith clones and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. 7. It's almost like that's too heavy for him. 8, I really like this 8 of Swords. There's just, it really gives you this idea of being trapped and everything and tethered. It's very haunting. The 9, like the sleepless nights, the dream, and I like the swords are in the bed. And then 10, the page, the knight. It's interesting that the Knight of Swords is not like charging forward, and the horse is turned around. It just gives me a, what, you know, why is that? Why not having him like charging into battle like he is on the Rider-Waite-Smith? The Queen. This is the one I struggled a little bit with, in terms of whether this was the Queen or the King. But again, it's the shadow there. When we're looking at court cards, we say it's an energy within ourselves. So the Queen is a more inward, nurturing energy, and the King is a more leadership, kind of take charge energy. So the Queen is your kind of caring, nurturing side, the looking inward, looking in the spirituality, looking into the intuition, whereas the King is go out and do it. Yeah, so there's a King. It looks like he's been through some trials and tribulations. And then we've got the final suit, which Cups. Interesting the way the hand there is kind of with the long fingernails. It's giving Nosferatu vibes. This was interesting because I watched somebody amazing called Soraya Tarot, and she was talking about the Two of Cups, and actually if you read into the body language of the Two of Cups, it's not as soulmatey as it first kind of comes across. And then when I was looking at this, I was like, oh, it almost looks like he's wearing a mask and she's kind of shadowed and veiled and stuff, so it gives a bit of a deeper interpretation into it. Yeah, definitely check Soraya Tarot out. And look at a video about the Two of Cups, because when you really look into it, it's like, wow, it's something I never really picked up on. Yeah, Three of Cups, love this one. Sisterhood, which is kind of coven card. 4, I love it just feels like the stagnate, you can feel the stagnation there within it. The 5, a 6, interesting with the like mirror. I'd be interested to read what they say about that. The 7, like lots of the decisions. 8, 9. So some of it does, like 9 there, that's very much Rider-Waite-Smith, but this one is not kind of as Rider-Waite-Smith, like clone-like. So there does seem to be a bit of a mixture. It's its own self. The 10 of Cups, the beautiful crow in the sky. I like that. I love that. And then the page. He's entertaining the crow there. The knight. It's like cheers. The Queen. And then the King. So let's see if we can pick a card out of here. So what card is this? Oh, the Four of Pentacles. Interesting, because I was saying about, I wasn't sure about this interpretation. So let's see what the guidebook has to say about the Four of Pentacles. Right, Four of Pentacles. We cannot erect strong walls to keep safe that which... No, we erect strong walls to keep safe that which we have earned. Apologies, I've not got my teeth in properly today. It is wise to protect whatever we treasure, but fear of theft can rob us of joy and we may experience from our belongings. To hold on too tight is to squeeze the life out of love. Keywords: protectiveness, greed, mistrust, firm. Now, I love that the crow there is kind of at the heart and at the centre, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, he's covering the main coin that he has. He's covering, you know, covering his heart, he's covering his head, he's covering his feet, he's covering everything with the coins, and kind of nothing escapes the kind of nothing escapes the coin. So, you know, it's kind of, and it's interesting that they haven't put like the coins under the feet and the coins on the head here. It's like round his neck, and it's kind of coming down through his body. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's covering his head, it's covering his feet, it's covering its heart. So it's covering kind of all the parts of him. You know, the air, which is the swords, so swords like intellect, brain, the feet, the pentacles, the heart, you could see with cups, and the kind of hands as well are covered, which is linked to wands. Like wands are actions, wands are kind of expanding, determination and growth. So yeah, it's interesting that's kind of come on in there today. So this was the Murder of Crows Tarot. I will be back next week for another flip through. I've got another tarot deck to show you all. It is the Agatha All Along Tarot. So, you know, if you're interested in seeing what that looks like, give me a follow, and you'll see it next week. And that will be kind of drawing towards the end of my new tarot decks for the spooky season. I've been Nikki T. It's been wonderful to see you here. If you are after a reading, you could have a reading with the Murder of the Crows Tarot or any of the tarot you've seen. You know, click on my bio, look me up. I do recorded readings, and I also do Zoom readings where you're there at the time and you can ask anything you want. So there is a variety there. I also go live on other platforms, the TT there as well, so check me out. This has been Moonchild Tarot, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, keep spooky in this Samhain season. Catch you later, everyone. Bye.